Greetings, family. Greetings. And welcome to the Art of Rising. We're here with another fantastic episode. We are growing by leaps and bounds. And this is the Art of Rising. And the Art of Rising is all about finding out the codes to life. So I met this wonderful brother. I was reading some of his bio. It is just wow. I can't wait to really sink my teeth into this, man. He's actually a clarity consultant and a developer of neuro-linguistic somatic experience. So listen to those last two words there, the somatic experience. Let's see what he has to say for himself, man. We'll just bring him in the room and let him go at it, man. Welcome, Brother Kyle. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, my friend.
Of course, brother. Everything that you do lines up with what we do. So anybody like that, man, we're ready to go at it. It's a pleasure to have you on. So tell us, your name is Kyle Smith. You're a clarity consultant. Tell us where you live and a little bit about what you're doing these days.
For sure. Also, apologies for the lag in the video. It's definitely my Wi-Fi. So yeah, my name is Kyle Smith. I'm a clarity consultant, and I am out of the wintry tundra of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Okay, that's beautiful. Tell us a little bit about this clarity consultant, right? Because that's one of the things. And then I want to hear about the neuro-linguistic somatic experience, of course. But let's go with the clarity consultant, man. What is this about?
So a clarity consultant is a title that I was inspired by a buddy of mine, and I was like, man, I really like clarity. Clarity really resonates with me. And then I'm a sucker for alliteration. So clarity consultant. I was like, yeah, okay, I dig that. And what I do is I help folks with their mindset. I developed the NLSE as a mindset gym for mental fitness and developing mental well-being. And I use fitness rather than health because I think mental health, it directs the focus on health, and that brings us to a place where we ignore the unhealth. So it's only one side of the coin. And so mental fitness, we can have health and unhealth, and we just figure out where we are in alignment with that. Yep.
That's wonderful. It makes me think about here at OMZL too. We're big on physical fitness, because we believe that that's a direct correlation with the mind, right? I mean, the mind is always there, right? The body might give up, but if you could get the mind right, the body will follow.
Yes.
It's your body. It's actually your mind is the one that says you're tired, right? Not your body. Your body, yeah, it could keep going much farther, So tell us, how is it that you help people with this clarity mindset and the physical part of it?
For sure. So develop the practice, neuro-linguistic somatic experience, and it's a top-down approach. So we go from the mind and then we involve the body. So we're going with the ethereal and we're going with the physical. We're getting the yin and the yang. We're getting the balance of the two, where if there's talk therapy, we only have the mind aspect. We're not getting the body involved, and we're going to hold our emotions in our body. It's not in our mind that we hold emotions. It's in our body that we hold emotions. And so I developed this practice by putting story work and breath work together, integrating those two. So the words, stories, and breath are where we are able to make the most changes. And breaking down neuro-linguistic somatic experience, neuro meaning of the mind, and specifically mindset. And I define mindset because we don't have a working practical definition. And so what happens is we have ambiguity. There's uncertainty behind what is mindset and what does developing your mindset look like. So the definition for mindset that I got is that mindset are the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves or our opinion of ourselves. So we can have a higher mindset, we can have a lesser mindset, and we can adjust accordingly. Neuro also incorporates the nervous system. It gets the neurons going. So it's not just the mind, it goes into the nervous system, into the body. Then we go into linguistics, language. That's what we say, think, write, and how we breathe, because the breath is the language of the body. And words I actually look at as the ethereal macronutrients of the mind. Now, for folks that are unfamiliar with the macronutrients are carbs, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And these work as the building blocks of the body. The quality of the food that we take in is going to impact the quality of the physical body. Words being the ethereal macronutrients of the mind, when we feed our mind quality words, we have quality thoughts. When we feed our mind crap words, we have crap thoughts. And so that's where we dive into it and bringing in the magic of words, the word abracadabra. It's a magical word. And folks will often think magic, and abracadabra is actually Aramaic for a reference point of how long ago that was. It was Jesus's language. And Aramaic or abracadabra translated from Aramaic to English is with my words I create, with my words I influence. So what we say, think, and write is going to create the reality that we perceive, that we experience. It's going to influence how we frame ourselves and how we frame others. And framing is a story about others, a story about ourselves. And then how the breath ties in is the language. When we're breathing high and tight, we're good to fight. When we're breathing low and slow, we're good to flow. And so if we find ourselves in a moment where the set and setting is nice and relaxed and we're hanging around people that are super chill and we're really chill, and we notice a moment where we're breathing higher into our chest and we're taking in shallow breaths, and we are finding our body is getting upregulated while it's in a set and setting where there's no threat, then we could take a moment to breathe in, breathe it out, down regulate. And I view breath work as a practice that allows you to go from a thermometer where you're reacting to the internal external stimulus and become a thermostat where you're adjusting your internal temperature to your own preferred liking, your own personal Goldilocks zone, the sweet spot. And so then that's how the language, we can listen to when we're upregulated, downregulated, and we can use our breath to influence where we want to go. And then going into the somatic, soma of the body, that's where we're going with not just the physical body, we're going with the energetic body. So we're getting the breath involved. We're using our body to create a state change in order for us to be able to explore stories with courage rather than fear and intimidation and resistance. So it's using the body down regulate to be able to go into the stories. And when we have the stories and the breath integrated together, what we get to do is go into the energetic body and process unmetabolized emotions. The physical body is a passive participation. We cut our finger, it knows how to heal itself. Our heart knows how to beat itself. It knows how to do its thing. And the only thing that we can actually get involved with when it comes to our autonomic nervous system is our breath. I can't sit here and be like, oh, hold on a second. Yeah, I just stopped my heart from beating for 2 seconds. That doesn't happen. So the breath being the intersection between the physical and the ethereal, that's where we can really get things flowing. And so as the physical body is passive, the emotional body requires active participation of the processing of those unmetabolized emotions. However, I find where we struggle broadly is expecting that time is going to heal us on the emotional plane, which the emotional body is timeless. Physical body, time bound. Having the expectation that the emotional body is going to heal the same way as the physical body is an unrealistic expectation. Time will not heal it. Active participation in the processing will heal it. And then E being experience, this all happens real time. People can go into a variety of different stories and they feel the story. They feel it as they're going through it. And that's NLSE.
Wow, that's amazing. I have so many thoughts when it comes to that. Yeah, and I know about the autonomic nervous system because we're working with that too. We do a breath work sessions here, and it's in conjunction with an ice plunge. And
Yeah.
the breath is what slows down the monkey mind, the frontal cortex, right? That's a new part of the brain in the evolution of man.
Mm-hmm.
The deeper parts are the much older parts. So how do we get to that? It's through the breath and air retention, right? But
Totally.
it slows down that monkey mind for a bit, and then with the ice plunge, it forces people into the present moment.
Hmm.
You can't think about, oh, did I feed the dog before I left the house or anything like that. No, it's not
Can
like
you
that.
imagine? It's like,
Exactly.
oh yeah, I forgot to change the laundry at
Right, right.
post breath and ice bath. It's like, nah,
Right.
nah, that ain't
No,
happening.
no. If anything, it pushes you into the present moment, and then people always come out with these incredible stories about how they never noticed that bird over there on the corner in the bird feeder and the sound that it
Mm,
was making, and the sky was just extraordinary blue with
mhm,
the cloud, like just in that moment when they're in the ice, like it almost suspends time. It slows it down for a moment. It it
mhm,
it it really just brings you mind, body, and spirit into the present moment. Like you're here, and this is it.
mhm.
So, but I can see that an interesting thing in your bio that you said that you found your why. After being stuck, in this undiagnosed depression, and I think we can all relate to that. I mean, I've been there, and all these people being diagnosed with all kinds of things. I don't need to go to the doctor to know that I was a train wreck walking. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
But tell me, how did you find this? How did you find your why, and how did you get out of that?
man. So to answer both of those questions in a short one, it is my problems became my passions. And there was a point where I just didn't like who I was, and
Mm,
that's where that form of depression would come in, because now I have a frame, because we all experience all these emotions. It's human, and so I think it's silly to think it's impossible, if a variety or many people are experiencing something, that they're required to stay stuck in it. They don't have to.
mm,
And so my frame of depression now is depression, deep rest. It's not being satisfied with the person we are now, and our present version of self is wanting to grow, wanting to uh, go through a catalyst to be able to evolve into that butterfly. And basically, when we do more stuff that is of importance to us, that we care about and brings us fulfillment, and we get to have a good time with being passionate about the problems,
mm,
yeah, when we are actually working towards ourselves, then as we solve problems, we unveil what the possible why could be. Steve Jobs has a quote. He says, "You can only connect the dots looking backwards, not forwards."
mm.
And so when you look backwards, like figuring out what someone's why is just a series of events that happened over a duration of time.
Mm.
And through that time, I have a way better relationship with myself now. Like, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that my present self is the best incarnation of me to have existed during this lifetime.
Mm, mm. I like
Without a
that.
doubt. Without a
Mm,
doubt. I actually,
mm,
it's crazy, because when I really had a pivot point, it was 2016, where I made the decision that I wanted to make a change.
mhm, mm,
And oh, where was I going with that?
I don't
And
know.
when when I asked for a help, like a help message, just like on Facebook post, just, hey, does anyone know of any counselors, of any therapists, of any resources that could be able to help me with what I'm doing right, or what I'm experiencing right now? And I could say without a shadow of a doubt that if I went back in time, it wouldn't take 9 years for me to figure it out, because I'd be able to go back there and be like, bro, I got this. We got
Mm,
this.
mm. It seems to be a process, just the unfolding of the human condition,
Hmm.
because I've shared briefly too, that I was a train wreck walking. I didn't know who I was, and I can remember also, Kyle, looking in the mirror, and I didn't even know who that guy was.
Hmm.
Like I wish that upon no one. It was really, really a low point, to look in the mirror and look at that person looking back at you and go, dude, I don't even know who you are,
Mhm.
and I'm also self-aware as well too, and I stand in my self-awareness,
Mm.
but I didn't just wake up like this either. It took me time.
Totally. Yes, yes.
Some people look at me and they go, "Oh my God, how could you do this, you do that, you like this?" I'm like, dude, I didn't just wake up like this. Like it took me time.
Mhm.
Like it took time. It took time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, that's good vibes though. And it is interesting because when we meet someone new, or even if we know someone, it's hard for people to see it. For people we know, it's hard for them to see the changes we've made because they have a perception of who they expect us to be.
Mhm, mhm,
And
mhm,
then, what was the other part that I was saying on that one?
mhm, mhm.
I'll finish with that one. Yeah,
Yeah. That's you know, looking at you, right? Because we've just
totally,
only met, right? You
totally.
look like a really great guy and you got everything together, but looks are deceiving. You know,
Mhm.
you never know what people are going through. You never, never, never know. You never know. You would never know. Never know. It's so strange. People. I know there was one story where this guy, he was like, for all intents and purposes, he was super successful, and the last person that saw him was in a corporate position, and he asked somebody, which way is it to the roof?
Mm,
Yeah, and that was the last words, and the guy went, oh, it's that way, and that was it. The guy, yeah, he jumped.
damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you never know what people are going through, and that's
Mhm,
one of the reasons why we do some of the things that we do, because people are hurting out there, and
mhm.
and we try to create this platform, with the podcast and with some of the events that we're doing, also, and the breath work and the ice plunge. We do retreats too.
Mm.
We do men's retreats, and we just had our first international men's retreat as well.
Sick.
Yeah,
That's
we
awesome,
went.
dude.
Oh, it was just amazing, bro. It was just a leap. It was deep waters for us. And for anybody who's listening right now, I wanted to apologize again for brother Kyle Smith's video. It's his
Yeah,
Wi-Fi, so it's not linking up.
yeah,
We figured it out. That's what it is. That's why it looks a little strange. But the audio's great, man. It's right on time, which is
beautiful.
really what we need, right? So, Kyle, perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about like that mindset, and the coaching system that you have, and how is it that you're teaching people, and is it just for men, is it for women too? What are the ages, and how are you influencing people?
Overall, for who it could help, anyone that has thoughts in between their ears and have breath in their body.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the two things. Really, really high ask, I know. So by combining the breath work and the story work, the process of what that looks like is when we're going into mindset, we're going in and thinking about our thinking. And to be able to do that is to be able to create distance and separation from the stories. So we're no longer in the stories. And when I say stories, I mean experiences, moments in time, memories, traumas, fill in the blank. It could be whatever can be written down, can be done as a story.
Mhm,
And so what a session looks like is I start with 10 to 15 minutes where it's a grounding breath sesh.
mhm,
And if someone's upregulated, downregulate. If someone's downregulated, upregulate. So this puts them into a state of presence. It puts them into a nice chill state of being. And so then they have that opportunity to go into stories from a calm state rather than an agitated state. So then after that, I often ask, like, how's the breath sesh? Like, was there anything that came to you that you want to work on? Sometimes there's yes, sometimes there's no. And I'm like, cool. Then I ask them if there's something that they want to work on or off the document, because I work on Zoom and Google Docs so that me and the participant are literally on the same page. Their thoughts are written there. It's their thoughts, simple as that. So then we go into a story that's either on or off the document, an experience they want to explore, and it could be one where we're getting unstuck. It's celebrating progress and wins, or it's working towards a target for the future. And so
Mm.
depending on where the person is on their journey, if they have some stories that's agitating, that hurt, haunt, taunt, annoy, then we'll go into there, and then uh, it declutters the amount of information that's in our mind.
Mm.
And so how the process goes, because I have no problem sharing the process. If anyone does it, let me know, because it'd be
Mm.
so cool. Uh, so then the story work aspect, go into a story, they have it in their mind, and I ask them, "Are you open to exploring it?" Because I'm not going to go into a story they don't want to go into. You can't pay me $1 million to go into a story they don't want to do. I meet the person where they're at and where they're open and willing.
Mm.
And then I get them to write it down. So title it, write it down, and write it down conversationally as if you're speaking to someone else. Err on the side of more detail rather than less, and proper grammar and punctuation. And I say that so that it's written as it can be told. So that way it's not, when I was this age, it could be, I remember when.
Mm.
And then it shows it more like a video screen. Write it down as if you're seeing it on a screen.
Mm.
So that's step one. And people doing first step, they're taking the story from the brain, they're putting it down on paper, and it's already creating distance. When it's stuck in the head, then it's taking up all this space. It's infinite. There's no beginning and there's no end. When we have it on the paper, when we have it on the doc, there's a beginning and then there's an end. We see how the story is not as big as we believed it to be. So that brings one point of awareness, and it also brings a point of exposure. They're confronting the dragon in the way of the gold. And the way that I
Mm.
like to think of it is, rather than slaying the dragon, we actually become the dragon rider and get the dragon and the gold.
Mm.
So we don't discard or try to kill off the story because it's a part of our personal lore. We
Mm.
actually integrate and own the story rather than the story owning us.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So then step two,
Mm.
we get into the real good juicy stuff. We read it out loud. And reading it by yourself out loud, it does have a really solid effect. If you want to supercharge it, read it to someone else, because then you're sharing your heart with someone. And if you want to really, really supercharge it, do it in a grouping of individuals, because then you have the breathing all at once. And then you have a group of individuals that are sharing their stories. They're celebrating their wins. They're going into stories and getting unstuck. They're talking about things that they want to accomplish, and they're framing their future in a way that inspires them and creates a place of action proneness. And when people are sharing in a group, it's magic. It's just magical.
Mm.
So when people
Mm.
are sharing these stories, like, I see people cry all the time. It's a normal thing for me, and I don't mind. I'm pretty chill. I'm the exact same composure while someone is like bawling their brains out, either tears of joy, sorrow, whatever it is. And that's okay. I don't mind that. It's cool. Um, and so then after that step, then we actually go into it again and we read it 30% slower. So 70% our normal rate of speech. And what this does is it forces us to breathe. With step two, we might be able to hold our breath in our chest and hold our air in and read through it, so that we don't have to feel the feels. It's when we take that breath, then we unlock the floodgates. With step three, it forces the participant to breathe. So they have to read slower, and eventually they're going to get a and this starts to break the shell of the story that's been lingering. And then from that point, we go into step four, and this is where we integrate reading and breathing. So at every period, the occasional comma, and sometimes and, insert a breath. So you still have that slow rate of speech. So what it would look like would be, or sound and look like would be, when I was 7 years old, inhale, out. I had a banana bike. And this is a true story. It was a father-themed story that I did. So I titled it Banana Bike, wrote it out, read it slower, added the breath while keeping the pace. And what this does is it forces that breath, forces that pent-up energy to finally release. And this is where, throughout this process, people are getting epiphanies and aha moments and collecting these ideas along the way. So It's a removal, a decluttering, an integration, and you feel the physiological change. Because at each step, I forgot this part, at each step,
Mm.
I either ask the participants the question or someone can ask themselves after they do step 2, step 3, and step 4. Ask yourself at each point, what emotions am I feeling? Describe the vibe. Another one is, where do I feel it in my body? And on a scale of 1 to 10, where does the intensity land? And what you'll see at each step, it changes because we're creating a different relationship and a different meaning to the story. And so when all is said and done with that, then I ask, what does this story mean about you? Well, I don't know. Well, what does it say that you were able to go through this difficult experience and be able to be on this side in this moment? What kind of person would that be? Oh, that'd be a courageous person. Okay, so there's evidence backing up that you are who you say you are, and you are courageous. And my definition of wishful thinking is affirmations without the evidence to back it up,
Mhm.
because then they're hollow. They don't mean something. We're just adopting another person's story. And so when we create these affirmations, these supercharged affirmations where we can look in the story, oh, this means I'm courageous. Okay, cool. What else does it mean? Oh, it means that I love myself. Oh, awesome, awesome.
Mhm.
What else does it mean? Oh, it means this. Okay, cool. And then what I do is I'll collect these and I'll turn it into I am affirmations. I'll get them to read and breathe each one. And then they end up creating a different meaning to a previously daunting story.
Mhm.
And realistically, people don't have to create their own meaning. However, I'll say this, if you're not creating the meaning of your story, you're adopting someone else's meaning.
Right.
And that's dangerous because then you
Mhm.
become a duplicate of that other person.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So that's how the practice looks.
Wow. Wow. That sounds pretty intense and deep and profound. And you said in a group setting, you do group settings too?
Yeah, man. I'm finishing the year with a community sessions, Celebrate the Wins edition.
Mm.
Yeah. So then we'll go in, and so that's the theme. And so then we'll have the group breath sesh, and then
Mhm.
everyone's going to have their pen and paper, and they're going to write down their own stories. And
Mm.
then depending on how many's there, I'll pick at least 3 to 6 individuals to work with directly.
Mm.
So, for example, if I had a group of individuals and we were going through the 4 stepping, and someone was celebrating, and a couple of people were celebrating their wins, I would go, person 1, read your story. Okay, describe the vibe. How does it feel in the body? What's the intensity? Person 2, read your story. Describe the vibe. Where do you feel in the body? What's the intensity? Person
Mhm.
3,
Mhm.
they read
Mhm.
it. Go back
Mhm.
to person 1. Okay, we're going to go to step 2. Read it slower.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so we hit it that way. It's pretty cool.
Wow. Wow. And you said that this is online, correct?
Yeah, or in person.
Or in person? Okay, because you're based in Canada, right?
Yep.
And what part of Canada is that again?
Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, the western
Oh,
side of Canada.
Alberta. I know Alberta. Yeah, I have a good brother. I met him in the jungles of the Amazon like about 10 years ago. He's a good brother. He lives over there too. And
Cool.
yeah, it's a pretty pristine and but you know, you could throw a rock at somebody who needs help,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It wouldn't be hard to find. You know,
Hmm.
that's why I know that what we're doing here at the Omzia Healing Sanctuary and the type of work that you're doing also, brother, it's much needed. I mean, everybody needs help, man, and some more than others.
Hmm.
And the strange thing about getting help is that you never really know how much help you need until you get it. Then you be like, wow, I I really need a lot of help. Like, wow,
Hmm.
you know, it helped
Totally,
me. You
totally.
know? Mhm.
And something else I'll share about this practice as well is I purposefully wanted to make it so that it was holistic and can integrate with other practices. So, for example, something else I'll do is I'll do NLSE cannabis connection, NLSE uh, breath. It could be breath work and ice bath connection. because
Mm,
you can go with the story, you can breathe through the story, then you can do ice bath at the end of it. So breath work, story work, ice bath.
mm,
You got peeps primed at that point. And
right, right.
yeah, and so sound healing, other modalities. So I purposefully wanted to integrate it with it so that, because I believe that collaboration is the route to elevation. So I
Mm,
wanted to be able to work with other people.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. When we do the breath work sessions as well, there's a sound bath that goes along with it.
Oh my
So
gosh, so
we
cool.
have the crystal bowls, and I have a flute that I play, and I also play the didgeridoo.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Not many people would know about this, but I'll just say for those who don't know, the didgeridoo is an Aboriginal vibrational frequency device. What it does is it raises your vibration. It's so deep and profound, and I'm getting that circular breathing going.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, sometimes I'm on it, brother, and people are just jumping like right out of their skin, man.
Mhm.
It's high vibrational intensity, which is wonderful too. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Um,
such a cool combination, man. I love that.
yeah, yeah. Maybe you come through
Dude,
one of these days, man. I'd love to
bro.
have you, and stay right there. I just want to plug this in because I think I'm running out of a little juice here. Hold
Yeah,
on.
all good. To all you folks hanging out, I appreciate you being here. Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, we're back. So, I'd like to know a little bit more about some of the success stories that you've had. Maybe one or two will sound great, but before we do that, we're going to take a small commercial break, right? And the commercial break is right here, brother. We are having a wonderful, wonderful event on December the 14th. Now we've had man, probably more than a dozen of these events, but they keep getting better each time. So the name of the event is called Purple Sage, right? Now, why is it called that? It
Mm,
came to me in different forms, but basically the color purple is the crown chakra, right? And the crown chakra is when you're connected closer to source. And in fact, in the Bible, when Pontius Pilate, after they beat Jesus and put the crown of thorns on his head, they threw him a purple robe. Right? They
mm,
could have just said that they threw him any robe, like or a towel or anything, but they said purple. So it has those connotations of royalty and godlike. And then the sage is very cleansing. If you know about sage, the premise is that it connects to the negative energies and it removes it from your auric field and all the items in your home and where you sleep. I mean, we smudge all day with the sage. So it's the
mm,
Purple Sage Festival, the Purple Sage Gathering, and it's going to take place on December the 14th. We're having it in Green Space Studios. This is a place that is owned by a brother and I believe his sister too, and they're artists. And they have all their art all around these two huge rooms. The first one is like the welcoming area, and the other bigger room in the back is like where all the events take place. They have open mic, poetry night. They have a tambora, if you know what that is. That's from the Caribbean dance with the drums, and it's like a call and response type of thing.
mm,
Very cultural. So we are renting the space, and it's taking place from 11 a.m. to 5 in the evening. And we're going to start off with some inspired breath, which is a short program that a good brother of mine put together. His name is Kamau. Then we're going to jump into the breath work. We're going to do some power breaths with some air retention. Then we're off to the ice. To The ice, actually, what we're doing is a water purification. So the whole event, Kyle, is based around cleansing and clearing for the new year. You see? So once you realize that possibly is something is holding you back, you don't know what it is. Once you realize that, you know, that's when you can capture it and then release it, let it go, right? And then once you're in the water, it's the water purification, and it's actually in conjunction with the Shinto belief system. It's called
Mm,
Masagi. I don't know if you know it, but Masagi has to do with a water purification and also looking forward to the next year ahead of you and planning one thing, maybe two or three, but it could just be one powerful thing that you're looking forward to do, to accomplish. Like we're just going through this life and we're just flowing through it, but we
mm.
should have this one thing, whatever it is, obstacle course race, or you want to run a marathon, or you want to lift a certain amount of weight, or you want to write that book or something. We should have that thing to look forward to. So this event helps them. And for those that are listening, if you stay until the end of the podcast, we have a special, special offer for you. So hang in there tight. Okay, so there's the commercial.
Dude, that was like one of the best commercials I've ever heard. I kid you not.
Thank you,
I
thank
was
you,
so into
thank
that.
you.
I was like, yeah, this is much more of a story flow, man.
It's
You know what? It's
beautiful. It's beautiful.
and it's also cool that you mentioned Misagi and Masogi, however we say it. And dude, yeah, that was I had a book that was a catalyst book. It's right here actually.
Mhm.
Comfort crisis. Oh yeah. So obviously there's going to be a delay in the screen. However, it's going to pop up soon enough. So
Okay.
Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter. He talks about uh, Misogi's as well, and he says that the how to apply it because it is water purification, where traditionally it's underneath a waterfall that you're just like palms are next to each other and you're just getting like rocked by a waterfall. I
Yep.
actually kid you not. I kid you not. I I fe- my when I went down to go visit a buddy of mine, we went
Mhm.
for a walk just to show us the area, and there was a waterfall, and I was moments from going in and just getting bombarded by a waterfall. And so what he says in the book about Misogi's is being able, or a Misogi itself is simply a challenge, and picking that challenge and knowing that you're not going to die. However, it pushes you out of that comfort zone.
Mhm.
And something else that's interesting, this is just a nerdy neurological thing. Uh, in Stanford, they've been looking at the neurobiology of the brain, and they found the mid anterior cingulate cortex of the brain to be the place that we hold willpower. And
Mm.
many scientists are starting to believe that it actually houses our desire to live, our will to live.
Mm.
And this we can strengthen this, and it has a physiological, like it's like working a bicep, for example. And the way to do that is by doing the things we do not want to do.
Mm.
So if we kind of want to do it and we do it and it's still hard, it's not going to stimulate that part of the brain as much as doing something we absolutely don't want to do. Jumping into a cold plunge, doing X amount of time for breath, hours for breath. Yeah, sure, why not? Doing
Mm.
X amount of minutes of breath. Like these things are all hard and they all can strengthen our desire, our will to live. And you can
Mm.
see it because these were all human studies as well. They're not mouse.
Right. Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, we do know about the healthy growth hormones too.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy growth hormones, you get them from fasting, and you also get them from breath work too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say that really the breath work is the complete package, because fasting, it would take a long time. You would have to take many hours of fasting, but
Mm-hmm.
breath work, like you could do a couple of rounds of it, and it strengthens those healthy growth hormones. It's the ones that strengthens your will to do things and accomplish. So you know
Totally.
it's strange that, or not, that you are reading this book and I'm mentioning this. Like I don't believe in coincidences, man. I don't
Mm,
believe that we are meeting right here just by coincidence either. No, no.
totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
we're meant to be speaking to each
Cosmic
other.
coincidence. A
Yeah,
cosmic
right.
coincidence, a beautiful synchronicity, where I look at luck as an equation. It's preparation plus opportunity got us here
Mm,
today.
yes, yes, I believe that, brother. And oh, what was his name? Oh, the brother that he said, the wink from the universe. I
Mm,
forgot his name. Yeah, whenever you see those synchronicities, he says it's like the universe is just giving you a wink, like I got you.
yes.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and then when we open up our mind and our hearts enough to be able to observe it and see it and interact with it when it happens,
Mm.
then that's where the real can magic can really happen.
Oh, for sure. For sure. When you're open to those things. Yeah. Because you could walk around life just saying that things are just happening by coincidence, or you could see that life is structured in this
Mhm,
way. And we are the masters of our lives. That's what I told you earlier about myself, that I'm aware. I'm
mhm,
an aware man. I know who I am, right? I stand in my awareness, right? And once you do that, like yourself, brother Kyle, then you get to see that you're the director of your movie and you're
mm,
starring in it too. Like,
mhm.
I tell people that I'm starring in my own action movie, like, with the soundtrack playing in the background, like, for real.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like that for me, man, you
Yeah.
know?
I
Yeah.
think of it where it's in my brain, it's the author of the story. And one that I resonate with, I really enjoy, is you become the captain of the ship. You're no longer mopping the poop deck.
Oh, I like that. I like that too. Yeah. Man, I read another book too that he said, usually we're listening to the guys who are putting the coal inside the furnace to energize the boat. And you're the captain up top, but
Mm.
you're listening to the guy downstairs. He doesn't even see where he's going, and we're listening to him. Like,
Yeah.
no, we're the captain. We're the ones who say which way the ship goes,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Totally. Totally. Oh, look, my image of the book finally came in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The comfort crisis.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi. It's lagging, for those that are
Apologies.
tapping in with the video, man. But,
Appreciate your patience.
of course, brother. Thank you so much, man. Everything you say is just lining up just beautifully. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about some of your success stories,
Oh, yes, of
something
course.
that has come through and, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. For the sake of privacy, I'll leave names out. I'll
Yeah,
just
that's
go with
exact
the
to
theme.
protect the innocent, right?
Yeah, totally. A couple cool stories. There was one, and this one was a heavy story. So it was an ouchie story. It was one that he was resistant to going into. However, uh, what I find as a common denominator, the folks that get the most out of this is that they have a desire to change, they have an openness to explore, and they have a willingness to test their pain threshold. And so he had all three of those. And he's like, okay, let's go into it. And his story was around his father. And it was an experience when he was a kid. And he had about a page written out. And we four-stepped the same method that I talked about earlier. We did the exact same thing. And it went the intensity, the feelings, the emotions. There is aggression. There was not resistance. There was, what else did he say? Powerlessness. Like he
Mhm.
felt that sense of powerlessness with that particular story and that experience. So then we went through the process. We went step one, he wrote it out. Step two, read it out. Step three, read it slower. Step four, we read and breathe. And he got some tears out. He got some flowing out. And by the end of it, and we were able to see with the questions where he was changing, what his feelings were. And so at the end of it, I asked, like, what did you think of the experience? Like, how are you feeling? Like, what do you think? And he said that he was aware that the story was there. However, it didn't feel as destructive. He felt like he was in the middle of the tornado.
Mm.
And I was like, bro, that is so sick. And so that was one example. And then another example, I used it with dreams specifically because the same process worked with dreams.
Mm.
And this lady, she was in a car accident and she actually didn't remember the car accident happening. However, in her dream, she remembered more detail, not everything. She recalled more detail. She was seeing it as she was experiencing it. Like that part of the brain just like suddenly came in. So got her to write down the dream, or on the side of more detail rather than less. And the amount or the story itself, a person can write the story however they wish. It's the meaning that they associate with it that we're working through. And so he created a different meaning with it. We created a different frame that he was able to experience. And because he still had some lingering intensity, what I would recommend for anyone where it's like there is a difference. However, you still feel the feels come up into your chest. You still feel those intense feels, however, they're less intense. And then that just goes into going through the same story, going through the same process, and reiterate or rereading it. Don't need to change it. Reread it, goes through the same steps. And then you'll notice that folks can go from a 10 out of 10 and they'll go into a 4 or 5, 6. And that's like, that's the Goldilocks zone. So when they're in that sweet spot, to me, that's an indicator that they have owned the story. When they're in 4, 5, 6, it's no longer owning them because their emotions are not at the mercy of the story. The story's at the mercy of us. So for hers, we went into it, and after that one, because she felt like good feels and she created some solid meaning, what we did after that was I got her to write a letter to her at that age point to say thank you for going through it, to being able to experience it and be able to come out the other side and show gratitude for that past incarnation of ourselves.
Wow. I can see people walking away, with tons of healing, man, and just putting things down, right? We carry these things, when I was able to put some of these stories down myself, I didn't even know I was carrying them around, Kyle. I didn't even know until I put them down. Then I was like, wow, my God, I've been carrying that with me all this time. Oh my God. Woof. I'm not picking that up again.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we just put it on the bookshelf instead. We just put the story on the shelf.
Right. We do men's work too, which some of it's really, really deep stuff,
Awesome.
and I remember we were in a group setting, and one brother had shared some really deep stuff, and man, when he let out his story, brother Kyle, it was like he just sucked the air right out of the room. Like I kid you not, it felt like the air particles were just frozen in time. It was that deep, that profound. And he was walking around with that, and we were able to help him, walk through it and to put some of that stuff down. So I know this work is much, 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 much needed. And I'm sure
Agreed.
that you have a whole, ton of stories for us and things like that. But tell us a little bit more about the neuro linguistic somatic experience and how it has changed your life. Yeah.
Oh man, so many ways. Where one, I have so much more energy because I'm so much more inspired to help people that with a tool that I know works, or it can work for some people that are open to it. And oh man, like legit, when I say problems became my passions, like I wake up and I'm pumped to do what I do. I'm excited to go into stories and being able to do that. And well, there's, like you said, like there's so many folks that are open to healing, that want that healing, and being able to have stuff like what I'm doing and what you're doing and being able to allow people to journey into that. I think that's so sharp, man. And oh my gosh, like it's a beautiful amount of gratitude, and I just know that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be.
That's a beautiful place to be, and same here. It can be challenging at times also, but the rewards are just incredible. if I could tell you how many times people have just come to me and tell me, "Thank you, thank you, thank you so much,
Mhm.
thank you." And I tell them, "It's not me, it's you.
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah, I'm just the guy." We like to compare ourselves to ushers in the movie theater, right? We're just
Mm,
trying to help you get to your seat without knocking somebody's popcorn over, right?
mm,
Why? Because the movie's yours. It's your movie. See, we're just helping you to your
totally.
seat. That's it. Once you find your seat of awareness and you get to realize who you are, and all those things are stories, and plenty of those things are not your fault, and there's nothing that you could do about those things. They've already passed already. We don't
Mhm,
have to be walking around, like you so eloquently say in your bio about that victimhood, walking around as that victim, you
mhm.
know,
Totally.
you know.
Totally, dude.
Mm.
Yeah, it's super. It's it's phenomenal. It's beautiful that we are able to. Well, I'll put it in a different way. It's beautiful being able to, yeah, reinvent, not even reinvent, it's unveil the character we can step into. It's
Mhm.
unveiling the character we can step into. And when we step into that character, then we're able to really make a positive impact from
Mhm.
that point in time. From,
Mhm.
and not even like a huge way, like what we're like, where we're working with participants and being able to work with other people. I think it works even in the sense of just your fellowship, the people that you make space for.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure, for sure. It's a high calling, for sure. There's lots of people who don't want to do this type of work. It's
Mhm.
like cleaning up the mess. They don't want to do that. They want to make a mess. Or make believe the mess is not there. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just like, nope, it's not. Just ignore it.
Right. Yeah. Just ignore it. Don't worry about it. Nope. 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 Yeah. But it's so rewarding when someone gets to free themselves from that mental bondage. We often say that you're sitting in a prison cell with the key to the
Mm.
cell to get out. It's in your
Mm.
own hand. It's in your
Mm.
hand. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And we're
buddy.
just we're just trying to show you that it's there. That's all. That's all. We're
Totally.
not giving you the key. No, no. This You have the key. You're putting
Totally.
yourself there. Yeah. So
I like what you
so
said earlier
go
about
ahead.
the usher. Oh, sorry to interrupt on that one. I like what you said earlier about the usher, because the reason why I say participants rather than clients is it's very similar, where I'm guiding, I'm not actually doing. And
Mhm.
I envision different similar movie theme. I feel like a force ghost that's hanging out there and is good for guidance. I'm not really doing the stuff. I can only like talk.
Mhm.
I like
Mhm.
that.
Right, right, right. Me and my wife, we've had these conversations before about people that walk around and they go, "Oh, I'm a healer. I'm a healer. I heal people." And I'm like,
Mm,
"You heal people? Really? Or is it God that's healing people?" Right.
mm,
So I think it would be better to say that, you're a vessel
hmm.
of God or whatever higher power or whatever it is that you believe that's guiding you to these things. More like a brush in the master's hand for the
Mm,
painting. You're just a
mm.
brush. You're not the painter, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Beautiful.
Kyle, why don't you tell me, where do you see your neuro linguistic somatic experience in, I don't know, how about 5 years? Where do you see it going, man?
In 5 years,
Mhm.
oh man, yeah, I see it working with uh, communities, retreats, annual retreats. I'm going to be doing those. And then I also see it with working with businesses and developing the identity of the business. And that's by bettering the identity of both the leader as well as the people that are supporting that vision, and being able to get all of their words and stories and breath in alignment so that they can get things done faster. And then I see it all through this. One of my big goals, this is actually a legit goal of mine. One of my goals with this practice is to be able to have a stack of undeniable evidence that it works and qualify for an honorary degree.
Mhm.
I think that'd be sharp. And I like that specifically because when you look at degrees, an honorary degree, you may not be recognized as a doctor in civilian world. However,
Mhm.
if I went to a meeting, then I'd be Dr. Kyle Smith.
Right, right.
And another thing that I like about the honorary degree, one, I actually think it's easier because I haven't worked for the government. I'm not a part of the administrative grouping for any university,
Mhm, mhm,
and I don't go to a university. And so the only thing that is a part of that is my part is showing, actually, they say positively contributing to society.
mhm,
And to me, I'm
mhm.
like, okay, that's easy peasy. I'm down for that. And I also like it
Right.
because it shows my work to get to a degree rather than
Mm,
uh, just consumption and regurgitating information to pass tests.
mm. Right, right.
And so while people are working on theory, I'm working on application.
Mm,
And
mm,
so that would be when I'm going to say when I eventually get that one will be a really big one. And everything outside of that as well. That's my own personal selfish one. Outside of that, the impact that I'll be able to do with sports teams, retreats, collaborations, in person, online, in any capacity, man, like the world is my oyster.
That's beautiful, man. Great, big, ambitious dreams, and that's how we need to do, right? It's all in the mindset. Just recently, I am going over the book again. Man search for no, yeah, man search for
Yep.
meaning. No, I'm sorry, not
Yep.
that one. 'Cause that's a great one too. But as a man thinketh,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
as a man
Nice.
thinketh, right? And the book does speak about that. Like, we're creating everything, and we need to realize that. And when you're self-aware that it's everything is created in your mind that's being put out in your environment, then you approach things differently. You get
Hmm.
to see, like, it's me. I'm the one creating this right here. So let me be a little bit more mindful, or let me be
Hmm.
much more mindful in what I do and what I say. Yeah.
Hmm. Turn life into an act of meditation.
Yep, yep, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
brother, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, I think that's just about the time that we have. I'm just gonna put you on the side for a moment because I want to speak to you still, man. This is just
Cool,
deep
man.
stuff.
Dude, I'm totally cool with that.
Oh, well, you know what? Why don't you tell people where they could find you?
Oh, yeah. So main place is clarityconsultant.ca. And for socials, any social platforms, Dapper Dude Kyle, DapperDudeKyle. And if you, especially if you do the 4 step, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I have the fastest response time on that platform. And I want to hear about the experience. And I'm totally open for conversation. And that's where you find me.
That's beautiful. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being so open, man. So thank you.
Thank
Just
you.
hold on backstage. I'll be right there.
Cool.
Well, there you have it, guys. Wow, that was incredible, man. So fascinating, bro. I'm telling you, we're meeting more and more people these days that are just opening up all types of doors. That brother, he is a clarity consultant and the developer of neuro linguistic somatic experience, breath, story, the stories we're telling each other, the stories that we're telling ourselves, most of all, and moving through that for healing. It's powerful, man. Thank you guys for staying to the end of the broadcast. And in fact, I did want to mention about the Purple Sage that we're having on December the 14th. And if you stood this long, the admission is a $20, which I know it's already low, but we're going to give you another incentive. We're going to cut that down a little bit lower, just for $15. Just let me know that you were here, and the code word will be Kyle, right? Because that was our guest today. Let me know that it was Kyle that sent you, and we will help you out. And we have a special gift for you that day as well. December 14th, at the Green Space Studio in Union City. We're having breath, um, energetic movements. We're having the ice plunge. And then we're going to get into the great food, alkaline chef that we have there. We have a juice person. We have the people selling crystals and local vendors. And then we have all the live musical artists. So keep an eye on us. We're doing great things. And thank you for staying with us. I appreciate you. Peace and love.